Coming up this week on the Digital Lifestyle Show 8:13, Gary's here and we're back after a week off, and we're going to talk about what I've been playing with while I was on holiday. Raspberry Pi 400 and Windows 11. Really enjoyed playing about with that. We've got some Surface Duo news, some EV news, other tech that we can talk about, and Windows 11 stuff and lots more. So let's get straight to Gary. Gary, good evening.
Good evening.
Yes, and we're back after our week off.
Yes, indeed. And happy birthday, Ian, belatedly.
Oh yes, thank you. Yes, my so my week off where I had my birthday, which was very nice. We certainly had some nice weather. Yes, to sit out in the garden. I'm glad I bought a pergola which I built. And I don't know if you've seen the pictures of the lights that I fitted while I was off last week. So all connected up to the smart plug as well. So this pergola's got some low watt DC spotlights in it, but because I think I mentioned a few weeks ago, probably a few months ago, I bought a new power supply with the potential for extra lights. So I soldered those in. So I haven't done any soldering for a while. So it was nice weather. So I soldered them in outside and dug a trench for the cable, and all the lights are all fitted in now. Yeah, so they look quite nice. It's low voltage stuff is great because it's you just don't have to worry about blowing yourself up too much. It's not something you have to take into consideration too much. In fact, you're on your phone. I can't. So I was going to share the picture, but no point. But you can see it on my Twitter anyway. So I installed these nice little lights in the top. So they're very effective as well. Although they're only 2 watt each, there's 2 of them, and they light the whole area up.
Very good.
Nice. So I've got those on a smart plug.
I've been testing a new camera, which is claimed to be the brightest infrared camera out there for security, but what's really bright on it is its spotlight. It automatically switches to, so it does passive infrared until someone walks into it, and then it turns this spotlight on it. It's blinding. This is going to be a good anti-criminal deterrent. It just blinds anybody. But it seems to work quite well. So and very cheap as well. Only about 30 quid for this camera, so it's a good option. But the only thing I've got slightly concerned about it is the weatherproof on it. Whether it's actually going to be up to scratch. Let's see if I can tell you. I'm not sure what make it is. It's called the V380 camera. That's, as far as I know, that's the make of it as well. But it's good because it's on Viv, which means it works with virtually anything. But yeah, that's quite impressive. I thought there's a pan for that sort of price to have for a pan, tilt, and zoom camera is pretty amazing.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, because a lot of them for that price tend to be those sort of fixed static ones.
Yeah, and it's not bad quality either. So yeah, it's a good one.
Oh, good. The other thing which I did get was rather nice, not technical but very fun, was a pizza oven for outside.
Cool.
So I had to go with that over the weekend. So that was quite fun. So no technology involved in that, but.
Well, you could do technology with that. I mean, we reviewed the Meteor thermometer for ovens use, and that would work really well with pizzas as well.
Well, actually, I said the no technology. I did get bought a laser pointer thermometer, little gun one, which so there was technology. Yeah, so you wait till the base, the stone gets to about 500 degrees, so you just point the thing. It's got a little laser pointer, and it tells you the temperature, and that works really well because you know exactly when your temperature's right to cook. Then, so that's really good. So so I enjoyed playing about with that, and that was working quite well. So I enjoyed that. So that was good fun. So I enjoyed playing around with that, and that was fun. But what we did get last week, and we probably didn't talk about from the week before as well, is a new Windows 11 build. So we had one the week before, but last week we had 222000, which they're staying at. It was a .100. I don't know if you had a chance to play with this one yet.
I haven't actually had a chance to play this one at all, but I've been hearing reasonable things about it.
Yeah, so this one this one had the Teams chat built into it, and it also had a few UI improvements. So I'll put this on the screen for the viewers on YouTube. Yeah, so I did a video of that one, yeah, the main ones were the chat. So the chat icon is now on the taskbar, so you can see you can see that, and you can use it with anybody that you've interacted with in the past, and I think you can create new ones. I had a quick look at it, but it's tied to your Microsoft account. So if you're logged in, this is we were talking about Teams before, and hence why you're on your you're dialing not on the screen. But so it's your Microsoft account that you log in on with your personal device that it's tied to.
Right.
But I don't use Teams with that. I use Teams with my domain account, my personal domain account, or on my own devices, and also the and it doesn't work with your work account either. So it was a bit weird. I was going to try and call you on Teams today via it, but I didn't have any of your Teams contact in there. So I guess I could have done it through your email, but then you would have had me with my Microsoft account one, and that's not the one we use for the show. So it seems to be a bit confusing.
Yeah, I mean, that's something Microsoft really needs to sort out, this whole multi-tenant stuff on Teams. It should just be a case of logging in. I mean, that should be use Teams, and that be able to have multiple logins at the same time on different accounts like they can. But which you can on the mobile version. You could have multiple accounts logged in and switch between them, but you can't do it on the desktop version, which always seems a bit crazy.
Yeah, and I think that is perhaps coming in Windows 11, but it's not at the moment anyway. So you got the personal one, so it looks good, and I think the idea of it is good, that everybody with Windows 11 will have just that chat icon, and if you've ever interacted with anybody, you can reach out to someone and it sends them an email, I think, if you've not communicated before. So maybe whether people will start to use that, we kind of had that with Skype built in, but that never really took off. But I think this perhaps it could take off if it's just there on the taskbar and it's easy to use. So the other thing that the other thing as well is it gives you that new version of Teams as well, so a very much lightweight version of Teams, because it's the consumer one. There's some other changes to it, like some more refinements in the UI. So I think when you click on the little more icons button in the taskbar, it's now rounded instead of square, and that kind of thing. So there wasn't a huge amount of changes with these with this build, but it's interesting to see that they're doing the previous one as well was .71, wasn't it? Yeah, the one from the week before, which we came out after we recorded, and that one had some menu changes and things like that, some refinements to the menu. But it's interesting that they're releasing these as a cumulative upgrade rather than a whole new build, and it looks like that's the plan going forward. So I don't know whether that's going to change all the way through, or whether that 22000 is locked in now, and that's what we're going to get all the way through to.
Yeah, I don't know.
To the end.
I certainly haven't heard anything on that, but yeah, it's a different approach, isn't it? Slightly.
Yeah, it certainly means that installing the builds is quicker. So yeah, if you're already on Windows 11, then it's a relatively straightforward, quick update to get these updates on. It's about 20 minutes, something like that. Whereas previously every week it was sort of an hour and a bit to get a build installed. So I think it works well. If that's how they can, that's how they design Windows 11 to work like that, then it's going to make upgrades a lot easier. So I'm guessing that if you're on Windows 10, you'll get one big update, and then you'll just get all these cumulative updates, and that'll be it. So I think that's quite a good idea. Maybe if we get one big update every year and then cumulative upgrades or something like that. Yeah, so yeah, I've got a video of that, and I say I'm really enjoying using Windows 11. As soon as it hits the beta channel, which I think is going to be pretty soon now. I'm considering moving my Surface laptop, which I'm recording on now, which is effectively my production machine. I was thinking of moving that over to the beta channel. It's currently on release preview because it's working great on my Surface Go. So I've had that on from day one. I found a couple of bugs. Some things like on the Surface Go, most of the time the rotation and the on-screen keyboard works when you're in tablet mode, but sometimes it doesn't. You've got to actually disconnect the keyboard and then it all works. Also with this build, Windows Hello didn't work either. But there's a fix of that by just uninstalling and uninstalling the driver. So if you go into Device Manager onto Biometrics, right click on the biometric and just do uninstall, and then after a reboot it reinstalls the correct driver and it works again. So pretty much everything is working on here. It's nice and smooth, and yeah, I'm really enjoying Windows 11. It's got to the stage now where I want to get it onto my production machines now because this is working so well, and I just like the UI. It is nicer, the curves and everything else. It looks better and it looks more modern, and I think it was pretty much the right thing to do with for Microsoft to do that sort of clean break, I think, and say this was a new OS and this is what you get. And I've seen people commenting saying, "Oh, it's just Windows 10 with a new skin," but each Windows is an evolution, isn't it? So it's not like they start scratch every time. In terms of stuff you're doing for development, are you having to change any methodology for development, or are you still not really targeting Windows devices anyway at the moment?
Still not really targeting devices. I mean, you get occasional things with Windows devices, but mostly, if it's anything, it's Android PDAs now for desktop or laptop, tablet type stuff, and browser-based stuff for PCs. I mean, it seems to be that's the way the world's going. And I haven't really seen anything we need to do specifically for Windows 11 for anything on the browser-based stuff. I mean, I know there's some really cool stuff under the skin on Windows 11. I'm quite looking forward to having a play on the developer side because there is some good stuff there. But and the new store definitely is interesting. I think that's going to attract a lot of developers in.
Yeah, we should mention the store. Actually, that was something that has also changed. The store's got some new UI, some animations when you click on things. It looks much nicer, but I think VLC's put their application in the store now, and Edge is in the store, so you can actually download, even though they're traditional installers, they're there in the store now. So it could mean that you can put your standard installations in there, that aren't necessarily UWP or modern apps. You can just put them straight in, so it does give you a lot more flexibility. It looks nicer actually, the new store as well. So anyway, check out the videos. You can see those running on there. But so far, I'm liking Windows 11. I've got a feeling we're going to get to beta pretty soon now. I don't think it'll be that long before it hits that way. So what else have we got? Oh, I'm talking of Windows 11. I've had a lot of success. We talked about it on the Raspberry Pi a couple of weeks ago, and I think I just hadn't got all the bits that I was needing when I spoke last week the last show with Richard. But so I've got everything working now for this. This is the Raspberry Pi 400. And this is proving it's a great machine for running Windows 11 on. So I don't know. I think on the show I mentioned I'd had lots of things with boot issues and all that kind of thing, and corrupting SD cards and everything. Anyway, so I figured out pretty much what it was. So Raspberry Pi 11 actually wasn't the problem I was having. The issue was the micro SD card that I was using just wasn't fast enough to run Windows 11. So what I did is I got a M2 SSD. This is a 240 gig one, and these have got the little adapter. These have got the slots to go directly onto a PC motherboard. What I did then was got a USB 3.0 adapter for it. So this is the adapter. So the M2 drive is going into there, and then this goes in the Raspberry Pi and is your media for Windows, and it worked brilliantly. It works really well because the drive is no longer the bottleneck. It's not super fast. This is doing the job really well, and put it all together. It put this into the Pi, and I booted off this, and I've got Windows 11 working off here. Almost everything working. So I've got the new store. I've got the latest updates installed. I've got the ARM version of Office installed. Edge is on there. Bluetooth working, networks working. The only thing not working is the Wi-Fi driver, and that's a no issue. It doesn't work. And the other thing that I didn't get is the rounded corners in File Explorer and those kind of windows. That is due to the graphics driver that's needed, and the basic driver that is compatible with the Raspberry Pi doesn't support that. So some things have got rounded corners and some things are square and don't have the same translucency. But overall, it works really well, and I've been amazed by how well it's working. So yeah, really pleased with that. So I've tried all sorts of things with it. I actually put DOSBox on there and got Windows 3.1 working on it as well. So that's how this is. So it's obviously running an ARM processor. The Office and all the applications are running ARM, but the DOSBox is running as x86 emulation, which works fine. And then it was emulating a x86 processor and Windows 3.1 installed fine. So I even installed Unreal Tournament 2004. I always kept that around because it was a nice, fun game. It's obviously pretty old now, and I installed that, and it emulates the x86 processor and works and is playable with sound over Bluetooth. So not using DOSBox, that's just installing it into Windows. So I thought that was amazing. So the whole thing is working really well, but it's a really nice little form factor as well. It's the board's built into there. It's got the cooling on it as well, because I did this on a Raspberry Pi 4, which got really hot, but this is nice and cool. There's a little application you can install. It shows you your temperature as well. It's specifically designed for the Raspberry Pi and Windows 11, or Windows in general. So yeah, Windows 11 working great. I did a little video of that where, as Rich talked about last week, the issues over licensing is complicated. Microsoft don't provide a SKU for ARM, but the bits are available from Microsoft's own website. So some of the community have put tools together that enable you to create the installation media. They're not from a third-party source. They're all directly from Microsoft. So you know that they're not got malware or anything else. They are directly from Microsoft, but it's just Microsoft don't advertise how you can do this. But the community put this together, so I didn't come up with the installation package. I just tinkered around until I got it working. But and then same for the Office stuff as well. That's fairly easy to get working as well. So yeah, really impressed, and a nice little device now. And that's my go-to machine now for Windows 11 testing. It's just that UI that needs a bit of refinement, but overall it's working really good. So cool. I've been really pleased with that. So that's a nice little project. I don't know what to do next with it, but it's nice. And of course, the other thing as well is I can just boot from instead of booting from this, boot from an SD card, and I can boot into Linux. I can boot into RetroPie. I can boot into Spectrum, using RetroPie. There's a DOSBox emulator. So you can do anything like that. Yeah, it's working really well. So yeah, really enjoying doing that. So that's kept me occupied for the last week or so, especially trying all these little different things on here.
It sounds really cool. I must give that a go. I've got a couple of SSDs lying around out of old laptops and things. So yeah, that sounds like a good challenge to try and set something up like that.
Yeah, if you've got your Pi, have a play about with that. If you've got some SSDs, and the great thing about with the Pi as well is that you can just plug those different SD cards in, and you've got a whole different OS. You can do whatever you want with it. And these M2 these M2 SSDs are really cheap. I think this was 30 odd quid now for 240 gig.
Yeah,
it's amazing, really.
I've got loads of them left over and laptop upgrades, as I was saying, and it's to the point where I just throw them out because you can't sell them for anything. It costs more.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, just stick one of those in a Raspberry Pi, get the USB adapter, and you're away. Yeah, so I hope Microsoft do a way of officially supporting it at some point. I don't know how with ARM it seems slightly different, but I don't think they ever released an ISO for ARM devices, did they? It's only Intel devices you can get an official ISO for.
Yeah.
But anyway, good work from the community.
Excellent. Give it a go.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's what I've been playing with the last couple of weeks. And yeah, very much enjoying the Raspberry Pi. A couple of the bits of news as well. We had the July update for the Surface Duo yesterday, which I installed, and nothing really exciting about that 20 meg update. There's not going to be a lot of a lot in that. So it was just included the Android security update. So I think I've got a feeling that all the work is on the Android 11 update, which is, I think, rumored for September. So maybe that's when we'll get something new for the Surface Duo. It's funny now because we're now out and about now. People are asking me about this all the time now. So I've had it since October, because we were in lockdown. No one ever saw it really, but now when you're out in places, go, oh, what's that? I like your phone. Yeah. So yeah, a lot of people asking me about the Surface Duo. Did you see? I don't know if you had a chance to see. There's been some leaked pictures, or we don't know whether they are leaked or official mock-ups or what, but there are people saying that the Surface Duo 2 has leaked the pictures of it, and it's got a big camera bump on the back with 3 cameras on, very much sort of Samsung style camera bump back on the back there, which if it's true may address some of the issues with the Surface. But you know, I use it all the time. You know, I've been on holiday last week, and I was out and about, and I use this all the time. But I do take the Samsung Note with me if I want to if I'm going to be doing some pictures. So I think that would alleviate that issue. I'd just take the Duo. But it does feel much more like a business machine, where you know where you want to look after it a bit more. Whereas you know the Note, I feel like I could chuck it in my pocket a bit, and it's probably feels a bit more robust. We'll see. I think there's a new Samsung foldable out in a couple of weeks as well. Is it the Fold 3?
Yep, so heard rumours of that. Anyway,
Yeah.
Right, the mock-up I saw, that looks like it might be quite good.
Yeah, I got the invite to the online launch type thing, which I'm not sure about those. I'm not sure about some of those Samsung launch events. They can be quite funny sometimes, can't they? But they can be slightly odd. Those Samsung unboxing videos, unboxing events, or whatever they call them. Anyway, so Surface Duo working good for me as well. Oh, I tell you, one other thing I did get working as well was Colossal Cave working on the Raspberry Pi. So Rich will be very happy with that.
Yeah, you will.
I did have a play around with that, but I was nowhere near as good as the guy at the Computer Museum.
He was an expert.
Yeah,
he was.
And we do need to get them back onto the show at some point. So we've got a few guests coming up actually. So we've kind of packed up with guests. So we're going to try and fit them in sooner or later. I know you've got working on some guests, and I think, fingers crossed, in a couple of weeks we'll have a really big guest for us coming on the show, a Microsoft related guest as well, which should be very interesting. Something we've been working on for some time.
Very cool indeed.
Yeah, so actually we may be able to get questions. In fact, stay tuned to the end of the show. I'll tell you who it is, and you can send some questions in as well.
Cool.
Okay, what else have we got this week? And I've been following you on Twitter. I noticed you've been out and about, and a few more EV parks have been coming online.
Yeah, there's a lot. Well, the Grid Server have been doing a phenomenal job putting all their stuff, the EV stuff together. I mean, big news this week has been the Competition Markets Authority have launched an investigation into the services or EV charging at the services, which is a bit late in the day, really, from most EV owners' point of view. I mean, if they'd done it a year ago when we were having all the electricity issues, that I think people would have been very happy to see a third party come in. I think the worry now is that they will do what they usually seem to do with services and say, oh, it's okay to have competition between services, so you can have different petrol stations at different services, but you mustn't all have the same petrol station. And we don't really want that. We don't want them to say, you can't have grid server every single services. We'd like them to have grid server every single services plus other chargers, potentially maybe Instabox or whatever, allowed to set up at the same services. It does seem the timing of this thing does seem a bit weird that suddenly when things are getting better at the services, they suddenly start this investigation, which is it seems a bit odd, but. But having said that, grid server doing a phenomenal job. They're obviously still going to do their own thing anyway in terms of their hubs and broadcasts, and we will have Sam from Grid Server coming back on to talk a bit about what they're actually up to, because they're doing I mean, the turnaround they've done to get all these charges changed over before the end of this year. They're on schedule end of September, October, early October to get them all done by. It's incredible what they're doing. Some small issues, and we'll go through this with Sam when he comes on, because there's things like certain drivers aren't able to charge now, which we were able to charge before because of limitations in the new hardware. But they are, I mean, they're certainly aware of that. They're going to sort it out. But for the vast majority of people, including me, who've got the new CCS standard on their cars, then it's a huge improvement. Actually makes using services viable, which is really good. And yeah, very interesting stuff. And a lot of new vehicles coming out over the next few months. I've off to see the Kia EV6 this weekend, so I'll probably talk a bit about that next week, because that's an interesting bit of technology. That alongside the Hyundai Ioniq 5, which are both using their new EGMP platform, which has got 400 volt and 800 volt charging, which is quite an interesting factor. Obviously, I don't think people realise how important that is, but it's going to make if you get the right sort of charger, it makes a massive difference to how fast you can charge having 800 volt charging on board. So volts times amps equals watts, as we know, all learnt at school. So you can use lower amperages to get the same kilowatts of volts out, kilowatts out, and that means you don't have to necessarily have such thick cables or etc. to get a faster charge. So it makes a big difference, and it's really interesting. But I love the way they've actually got this set up so you can switch between 800 volt and 400 volt on the fly, which is quite cool. So. Yeah. So I've got to make a decision fairly shortly about what my next car is going to be, because the I-Pace is up for renewal next year. Whether I may stick with an I-Pace, I may get something else, but it's all up in the air at the moment. So, and there's lots of nice new cars coming out, so I've got lots to choose from. Yeah,
that's right. Because I'm guessing that it's one of the things. It's an ever moving target, isn't it? That you just get whatever you get the latest thing, and the technology is changing so quickly that the device, the car is out of date as fast as mobiles go out of date at the moment. Whereas that's not something we're used to in the car industry. And
that actually does potentially affect the whole structure of the car industry, because it's all very much reliant on resale values. And if things become like mobile phones, where the resale values just fall off a cliff, how do you actually finance them and the like? And you're starting to see a lot of rental operations out there for cars going forward. So I don't know how that's going to work out. I mean, to be honest, cars should be retaining their value, because even a 2-year-old used EV has got a lot of value to it, because it's going to be mechanically reliable. Normally, with EVs, as they get past the first year, they just keep going forever. I mean, most faults on EVs are down to 12-volt systems rather than the main battery issues. So, and the batteries do last a long time. I mean, they last so long that the industry, which was trying to build itself on recycled car batteries, is failing because it can't get enough car batteries. Yes. So I think that's an interesting thing. So yeah, I mean, and they just go on and on. There's EVs out there which have done 500,000 miles now, which is crazy. Some taxis out there. So yeah, they're very reliable. I think the manufacturers are going to have to building up obsolescence again. They'll have to start making rust again or something.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I guess are these chip shortages again going to affect the EV vehicles as it's affecting others?
Yeah, they affect all vehicles. I mean, it's really interesting that. I mean, so it's like some of the manufacturers are reverting back to analog dashboards because they can't get the chips for controlling the display-based ones. Some of them are really going back in time. Lots of sort of bits of tech have been dropped out of vehicles because they can't get the chips. And you can't take all the tech out of an EV because a lot of it is tech controlled. So
yeah, you need it. Yeah.
So it's a really interesting one, and I know a lot of the upcoming EVs are being delayed because of this. So
yeah,
we'll see. But that's going to apply to cars anyway.
Yeah, and I know that what you mentioned before, you're going to be potentially talking to Fully Charged Live again, aren't you? So
yeah, I've got that lined up for like middle of August. Dan Caesar, who's a friend of the show, who's been on before, he's coming on to talk to us all about what's going on with Fully Charged Live. The show, so they're doing an outdoor show at Farnborough latter part of the year, which hopefully the weather will be good for. Where I think every EV you can get in the UK will be available to look at. Some to test drive and some to do. So for 3 days in September. So he'll be talking about that, but also a lot of the other stuff that Fully Charged are doing as well. They're doing an awful lot at the moment in the EV market, and some really clever stuff going on there. So looking forward to that one. And of course, we'll be at Fully Charged again, doing our series of interviews. Already got that lined up. We're going to be the official third-party podcast. Fully Charged have their own podcast, but it's they like us because we're not talking to all EV owners. It's good to talk to people outside the market, and that's quite important, I think.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's good. It's ever changing, isn't it? And especially when you've got that decision on what to do. It's bad enough choosing what SSD to get or what laptop to get, even, but choosing a vehicle is a big commitment, isn't it? No matter whether you're purchasing it, leasing, or whatever, it's a big commitment.
Yeah, and I think that's why there's this gain in the short-term lease or short-term rental market, where you can rent a car for a year or half, or for even 3 months, and then move on to the next vehicle. That's quite an interesting one. I mean, it does. Yeah. The good thing is that the second-hand market for EVs is picking up now because of the fact and I've predicted this, when once they drop the NI liability on company cars for EVs, benefit in kind tax, down to a very small number, that the company's cars will take off in terms of purchasing. That's been the case. Those company cars are now starting to get to their 3-year mark, and some of those are really good cars, and they'll be quite cheap because they always are when they come out of our market. So that's going to really help with the second-hand market and get a lot more people into EVs, which can't be a bad thing from my point of view.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, I'm looking forward to that. And I had mentioned before, then we potentially getting guests. Well, I'm going to tease the guest that we're going to definitely have someone from the Windows Insider team at Microsoft that will be really fascinating to talk to, and really looking forward to it. It's in a couple of weeks, and so it's probably a good time to get your questions in as well now. So I'll get some questions together. We're just going to have a chat with the person who we do the interview with. But if you have some questions for the Windows Insider team, you can send them to me, ian@thedigital-lifestyle.com, or you can do it on Twitter @isdixon, and I'll collate those together and get some general themes and put those together. So as soon as I got 100% confirmation of where, who and when, I'll let you know for sure. But get those questions in now anyway, and I can start getting them together. So any questions for the Windows Insider team? They're busy people at the moment. They've got a rather large product launch coming soon. So so send those in now, and we can start talking. We can get those together. Don't ask me to ask them when Windows 11 is being released. It doesn't work like that. They won't tell us anything like that. It would be good. It is also getting time as well. We get to sort of into August, and we look forward to the sort of the next hardware events, and that's something that we can start speculating on soon, because you've got to think that there'll be some hardware to go with Windows 11 launch. It would make sense, not just from Microsoft but other OEMs. But yeah, sure, we're going to see some new Surface devices at some point this year.
Yeah, you guarantee that, I think.
Yeah, this would definitely be a good time for it. Oh, there's one other thing as well, getting advice for it. I was going through it, and I've got a box set of Miami Vice DVDs, and I thought, oh, I'll watch those. And then I realised I had no DVD players, and of course I've got the Xbox that I can watch them on. And I thought they're not available on any streaming service. So I thought I might rip them and save them for later. And I did do this a while ago on my home server, and then got rid of the home server and decided I didn't want them, and I should have kept the storage, but I didn't. So and I come to fire up all my devices, and I don't have a single device with a DVD player or a Blu-ray player drive built into them. I've got everything's diskless now. So I remembered in the back of the cupboard I had an old DVD drive, a USB one, but that doesn't work. So I guess I'm going to look at some solutions for that next. So that's probably going to be the next plan. Maybe they can make that Raspberry Pi a DVD ripping machine. Running Windows 11 that can automate the process for me. But yeah, that's my next project. I had a quick look at Amazon. There are a lot of USB DVD drives, Blu-ray drives available. I don't really need Blu-ray, to be honest. They're all on DVD. So whether I just go for the cheap option and get a DVD drive, but no, I thought, well, I'm going to have some old machine lying around, but it turns around I don't. I got rid of everything.
I guess you could play them out of the Xbox and capture them. Capture streaming.
Yeah, that's a bit real time for me. That.
Yeah.
Yeah, I imagine. I mean, this is something that we did 10 years ago, and then I kind of, as everything goes streaming, I kind of let them go. I used to use Plex to do it. In fact, I might even end up using Plex or something like that to do the automation, but. It's something I started, never really finished, and wish I had. So I've got the box set there, so I may as well make the use of it and get that. But had it been available on on Amazon or Netflix or some other service, then I would have probably just grabbed watched it that way. You can't even buy it on Amazon. I think you can buy like one episode. You can buy single episodes of series 1, but there's 5 series, and I'm not going to pay for that when they're on my shelf sat over there. So it would be cheaper to buy a drive. Although it might be one of those things where I spend all the time doing it and never actually get around to watching them. But that is the next thing we're looking at. So especially with storage. I mean, storage is so cheap now as well. It's not like that I need to build a media server to store 5 seasons of my advice on. I could probably fit the whole thing on a SSD drive or even on a micro SD card, probably of DVDs, aren't they? They're only 500 odd meg DVD, aren't they? So
yeah,
I could probably do that. But yeah, it's funny. I wanted, I decided I wanted to do this, and then I remember that I'd actually been through all this process 10 years ago and never finished it. But maybe get around to it this time. But it's still with all the different mediums that we've got. Still, sometimes the old DVDs or Blu-rays are actually still a good medium especially for media content that you're sentimentally attached to, as opposed to a new film comes out, you watch it once on Amazon, yeah, it was all right, and that's it. You probably never watch it again. But something that's got some meaning to you, then when it's a digital only option, there's no guarantee that you can ever keep anything like this.
Indeed, it's a really interesting challenge. The whole idea of history. I mean, going back to where we were a couple of weeks back with the Centre of Community History, and all those archives there, and how do you keep that stuff going is quite a challenge. Yeah,
and I don't know if you had a chance to watch, but I've posted all the videos that. Edited selection of videos that I did at the museum tours. So you'll see yourself on those, and yeah, you can even hear your family in the background, a couple of them, which is fantastic. Yeah.
Indeed.
I know me and Richard talked about it when I was, and I think you and Richard talked about it as well. But we 3 years haven't been on together since we did that trip. But yeah, it was good. It was great. Firstly, it was great to get out and about again, and the museums were fantastically hospitable to us, and yeah, really well worth a visit if you're in that area, and even especially the. Well, both locations had parking and everything. So even if you're not in that area, you can make a trip there and not have to worry about parking. Just go there and enjoy it and have a fun day out. So that was well worth it. Really enjoyed that. So I still covered the orange terminal, but I did show my wife the picture of that, and I said, "Wouldn't it be great to have one of those?" And she kind of looked at me as if to say, "No, don't even think about it." So I did think about getting one of those, but maybe the Pi 400 is satisfying my cravings for more retro gear, because using RetroPie, I don't know if you've seen this, but I think I talked to Richard about it last time I was on. The RetroPies are great. You just boot straight into this RetroPie, and then you put the ROM, you download the ROMs or the tape files for Spectrums or whatever they are, and you put them on the machine, and then you can just there's a menu you can navigate. So if you've got the Amiga Workbench, you can pick the Amiga Workbench, or if you've got Spectrum Basic or Match Day or Checkered Flag or whatever you choose, you can just get it from the menu and off it fires up, and the Pi boots straight into it. And a little 16 gig micro SD card, you can fit enormous amounts on there, and there's the PC emulator as well on there as well. So you can, the LucasArts games, which were always really good fun to play, Sam & Max and Monkey Island. That was the one that. But yeah, I even got the Amiga working on there as well, which was good fun. So it's kind of turned my turned the Raspberry Pi into a little retro machine as well. So it's amazing the flexibility, isn't it, that you've got now. So I can use this Raspberry Pi as a Windows 11 machine running the very latest build, but I can also emulate a ZX81 on here as well. It's amazing that what you've got access to nowadays. It's fantastic. But yeah, definitely those computer museums, definitely worth checking out, and we're going to try and get some of them on the show as well in the future, so find out how you can get a bit more information on getting to those. So slightly shorter this week because I got interrupted by a day job work call, but managed to sort that out. You have a week off, and then you pay for it when you get back, and I guess as a business owner, you know that even more.
I do indeed.
Yeah, but yeah, it is actually nice to get back into the routine as well. And I'm back in the office now as well, which is really strange. So this is my home office is now back to being really is my home office again now. So which is quite nice. So all the music stuff's here, Raspberry Pis and everything else. So I think, unless you've got anything else, Gary, I think that's everything we've got time for this week. Indeed.
So you can come and find me if you like on Twitter at Garry WMA. I'll get ahead of you there. There you are. I was asked that question.
Yes,
and hopefully I will get an issue of Personal Ink taken out. We've had some issues with some of the articles we're trying to write and COVID related stuff, so we won't go too much into that. But hopefully, eventually, we will get that out the door. Some really good stuff there. So
yeah, that's excellent. And I think my other thing is hopefully we can now things moving a bit more. We can get some reviews and stuff like that going, because that's sort of kind of been tricky. But now those things are coming back on stream as well. So I got offered the chance to review some Pink headphones. I thought, I don't know whether that would really go down well with me, but I'm going to do it anyway. Why not?
Indeed, why not?
Yeah, right. Well, that's been brilliant. So we'll be back next week, potentially with a guest as well. And don't forget, if you've got questions for the Windows Insider team, you can send those to us, and that will be up for a future show as well. And hopefully we should all get back together on the same show at some point in the next few weeks as well. And so until then, we'll see you next week.
Okay, take care.